Ariel, thank you for being with us here today. Really appreciate you taking the time out of your morning to be with us.
Thank you, Fernando. Excited about the conversation and the opportunity to share why we've been wanting to be part of the Mockingbird family.
Well, just to share a little bit of background around our organisation and what we are.
For those that don't know, my name's Ariel Metekingi. I'm from New Zealand.
So we're an Indigenous Māori provider in New Zealand. We've been in existence for over 40 years. It was established by my mother and my aunties, part of a Māori woman movement around providing care and looking after whānau. So that's the big genesis of our organisation, community-led, Indigenous-based. And we've established a care service program, which is basically looking after young people in care. At the moment, our organisation is the lead Māori care provider in the country.
My wife and I, we've got 10 children, and we have 4 children in care that we have in our home. We've had them for quite a few years, but over the years, we've had about probably 60 to 80 children come through our home.
Can you tell or tell us a little bit about what the foster care system looks like now there in New Zealand?
You know, New Zealand was colonised with about 200 years ago for us as Indigenous and Native people. Over the last 200 years, the government system for looking after our people in care and the justice system has failed us. We are the highest statistics, children in care. 70% of children in care in New Zealand are native Māori children from native families. Our prison system is over 80% representation of Māori, and yet we're only about 20% maybe of the population. So we're very overrepresented, unfortunately, in the wrong areas.
You know, here in the state of Washington, we've seen some of the same disproportionalities because our kids of color are coming into care. They don't have access to the resources, as you were mentioning earlier.
For us, we have to look at doing things differently. Our view is whatever the government has done for the last 60 years, we're not doing because it hasn't worked for us.
You know, we've got too many Māori generations that have been in care. And we have to, the model has to be different.
When we looked at some of the models out there, we looked at Mockingbird.
And as we looked at the model, it aligned very, very much to what we as Māori and an Indigenous group and culture believe in. And that's what we call a papakainga, which is one home in the middle. You know, that's nanny or auntie's home. And wrapped around it are all the cousins.
So for us, it was nanny's house, as an example. Your constellation, you've got the hub home. Well, we say that's nanny or grandma's house.
When we look at it, it's not difficult to explain the model of Mockingbird to our Māori communities and Māori whānau. That's what Mockingbird does for us.
I think oftentimes, as you just mentioned, the child welfare system really focused on the child. It's not necessarily been the family. It's not been the community. And that's really what you're trying to do with Mockingbird Family there as you're thinking about why it was in line with your values.
I think the organisational values that Mockingbird has aligns with our thinking as an Indigenous community. And I think also it would be fair to say in our world, certainly in my experience, relationships are really, really critical. Actually, it's and I think that's been the good thing with us, with you, Fernando, is that we've felt a kinship towards what it is that you do, what we're trying to achieve for our people.
I strongly believe in, just as you said, the relationships are really what's the most important part at the end of the day. And, as we've said, I think for the child welfare system, it's very foreign, or as you said, it's very foreign for them to think about raising a child within an extended family network. But the reality is that people have been doing it for thousands of years. And it's reintroducing that back to, almost in the sense to institutions. But, as you mentioned, the Indigenous values, I think both whether in this country or in other countries, They've had similar experiences, and because of that, I think values of community and family are even more so important. You mentioned a little bit about there's a movement there in New Zealand to really move services back into the power of the community. What is it about Mockingbird that you think is beneficial to that in terms of empowerment for the community?
I think here's one of the things. You've got a lot of flexibility in a model that's not prescribed that it must be this. The community can decide what it is that works for them. And I think that's, if you look at it, the flexibility of that and having some kind of structure is what I see in the value of Mockingbird for us. You know, that it would become an Indigenous model, but mainstream. So while it's got you've got a mainstream flavour, because you can use Mockingbird for any culture, whether it's Māori, Samoan, Tokelauan, Pākehā, but most other Indigenous groups around the world look at New Zealand as a lead country for iwi and Indigenous development.
Why do you think that it's difficult for a lot of agencies to embrace a program like Mockingbird Family that seeks to empower the community, as you said, make decisions for themselves?
I'd say that's probably the million-dollar question we all face. We struggle with them. We know government agencies are not culturally appropriate. You know, while they might get to the gate, they cannot get into the home of our families, especially our high needs whānau who we deal with, where typically these young people are coming from. That's the question, is how do we make agencies understand that the solutions rest with the community, doesn't rest with them. We're going to be here long after. If you look at our organisation, our tribe, we are 9 generations. We're never leaving. So government agencies will come and go, names will change, staff will change, but the needs of the families will be always there. We have 4,600, close to 5,000 Māori children in care. We've got to have some ability to take something that every tribe can use, or every Māori organisation can use to be able to bring about that change. We can't do this on our own. It's we call it a movement we've got to have across the country.
I like the way you phrased it, a movement, and that's really what's needed. I would say we're in the same situation here. We're trying to get a movement of folks who actually want to, just as you stated it, right, empower the community to make decisions for themselves. Who knows better, what your situation is than the children, the family, and that community in that situation.
Yeah, I totally agree. I think it's important for us, that I think it should be a movement, Fernando, that we need to push, of which Mockingbird is a part of it. When I was at Oranga Tamariki head office, so I was part of the Māori design team that was there, and many of those that were in the executive level had experienced Mockingbird in the UK. They talked about Mockingbird and how it changed and the impact that it had in the UK. And you were able to share the statistics and the success that Mockingbird had provided in retaining caregivers, foster parents, all the things that you'd have been able to achieve. I think that was probably one of the key things. And then I think I can't go away without saying, for me, from a relationship point of view, it's about working with people you like and you get on. And I think we felt with you, Fernando, that it was a connection with us, that you understood what it was we were about. And we've had too many times where people have come into us and share their programs and tell us about what they do, and they don't live anything like what they're telling us. This is someone else's program. It's not a lived experience. For us, it's important. If we're going to have relationships, they need to be like that. You can't have relationships without those.
Thank you, Ariel. No, the feeling is mutual. And I think it very much speaks to not just the values of Mockingbird Family, but as you mentioned, living them out. We are about community, and that's really what our work ends up really is about at the end of the day, is building those relationships and building that community. One of the things, as you mentioned, it was not the kaupapa, or our way of doing things, is not very foreign to Maori culture. It's that old proverb, a child needs to be raised within the village. And And so with Mockingbird Family, that's really what we're trying to do, is bring that village back and make it a non-foreign concept to child welfare systems, essentially.
There's a political will to change the way that the government, even this current agency, is delivering, to have a more culturally appropriate and Indigenous model of care.
It's really been a huge global movement in regards to not just the community building, but also that reintroduction of family and community aspect into the UK, there in New Zealand, in Australia, Japan, here in the US, and Canada as well. And one of the big things that we're seeing is that, especially now during COVID, we are all in the same storm. We might not be in the same boat, but we're definitely all in the same storm.
It's not enough just to look after the kids. If we're going to have them go home, we have to be able to support them. So if we are to achieve our goal, we need a Mockingbird model, their families, their cluster, their constellation, their Papakāinga model, will do the work of the community long after we've all gone. But for me and my family, it's a bit of a mission. You know, it's a mission that we have taken on board, that we want to make a difference, and we do want to try and change their lives.
You know, I want to thank you for being with us. I want to thank you for your perspectives. They're valuable. And, you know, just as you said, as much as you're learning from us, we are learning from you. And our partnership is I know, going to be very fruitful.